All right, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. July 3rd, 2022. I'm your host, Mercado from Mercado Media here tonight, day 130 of the war in Ukraine. How is everybody doing? Drop a comment. Let me know where you're tuned in from. Apologize. It took me a little bit. My internet wasn't working and I had to boot it and reboot it and shut it all down, reset everything, pull it back up, and reset everything back up, and I had to do that like twice. And I was sitting here like freaking out internally and whatnot and rushing myself. So thank you to everybody that's stuck with it and for that's here for the coverage tonight. So let's get into it here. Follow along in the description of our video. Every stream we include a mini world news update. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of Ukraine and the daily happenings and any changes that have gone on within the country, we'll get into that. We'll go into the map changes, etc. Go into the territory gains by Russia, any gains, any losses, counteroffensives, any of the changes that have happened in the last 24 hours. We will cover in the map section. But first, let's get into what happened today in the world. Follow along in the description of our video. How you doing, Canada? Welcome all of our amazing Canadian and Australian viewers that are from outside of the United States. Google will automatically purge information about users who visit abortion clinics or other places that could trigger legal problems now that the U.S. Supreme Court has opened the door for states to ban the termination of pregnancies. Besides automatically deleting visits to abortion clinics, Google also cited counseling centers, fertility centers, addiction treatment facilities, weight loss clinics, and cosmetic surgery clinics as other destinations that will be erased from users' location histories. Police in Akron, Ohio have released video of officers fatally shooting Jayland Walker, a black man who was wounded more than 60 times. More than 60 times, and I do have the body cam video. I'm gonna play that we had posted to our page. News doesn't get out whenever I do a post on Sundays. It doesn't get out as much as it does on any other day during the week. So the fact that this came out today, we had posted it, not many people had seen it. So I'm gonna pull it up really quick, and viewer discretion advised on this body cam footage from Ohio. He was unarmed as he ran, but police said a shot appeared to come from his vehicle earlier in the pursuit. So this is the body cam footage from Akron, Ohio that has come out. And I'll just read some more information here. So Akron, Ohio police released video footage of pursuit and shooting of Jayland Walker. Akron Police Department released the body cam footage of the deadly shooting of 25-year-old Jayland Walker. The event occurred Monday as officers attempted to stop Walker's car for unspecified traffic violations. During the pursuit, police reported a firearm being discharged from the vehicle, followed by Walker exiting his vehicle in a ski mask. The chase continued on foot with 2 officers initially using tasers before 8 officers opened fire. According to Chief Steve Millett, stills from the incident showed that Walker moved his head towards his waistband and forward before gunfire from the 8 officers erupted. Reports from the medical examiner say that more than 60 wounds were found on the body, but more investigation is still needed to determine how many times Walker was hit. All 8 officers were placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Here is the body cam footage. Viewer discretion is advised here. All right, viewer discretion advised for this body cam footage. So that was released today, and there's been protests in Akron, Ohio that have been taking place. You guys can follow News to Share, Ford Fisher. He's been out there after that was released. News to Share. He's a solid source that is currently in Akron, Ohio. You can find that on our page. But here is Ford Fisher from News to Share. Again, you can find him on Facebook and YouTube. And it was out there, and there's protests taking place, etc. I'm not able to get out there, But follow Ford Fisher, who is in Akron, Ohio, in response to that the body cam footage that was released. All right, you can find that on our page. This, all right. Continuing on here. A shooting at a Copenhagen shopping mall on Sunday left several dead and injured, police said. The suspect who is in custody is a 22-year-old Danish man who is detained near the Fields shopping mall. More evidence is emerging in the House's January 6th investigation that lends support to recent testimony that President Donald Trump wanted to join an angry mob that marched to the Capitol where they rioted, a committee member said on Sunday. There will be, quote, there will be way more information and stay tuned, end quote, said Representative Adam Kinzinger, Republican from Illinois. And that is what happened today in the world on day 130 in the world. This is what happened in the world, and now we're going to get into Ukraine, day 130 of the war. So that threw me off there for a second. So every stream we include a mini world news update covering what's going on in the world outside of Ukraine. Try to keep up on the latest news stories as best as I can as we go here. So now, with that being said, we're going to be getting into the map. Let me pull this up here. And I'm your host, Andy Mercado. Welcome to another night, day 130, covering the war in Ukraine. And I'm going to go into a full map breakdown of today, July 3rd, 2022. Show all the territory gains and losses of Ukraine and the military on the ground in Ukraine. And I'm going to draw on the map. I'm going to manipulate it a little bit, highlight cities, show with arrows the advance and the retreat of the Ukrainian army. If you guys haven't, if you guys could, please hit that like button on the channel, on the video, hit the subscribe button on the channel, and thank you for supporting independent media as your source for the war in Ukraine. So let's get into it here now. First, I'm going to read the latest news going on here, and then I will go into each specific front within Ukraine. So, Russian forces have likely secured the Luhansk Oblast border, although pockets of Ukrainian resistance may remain in and around LYSYCHANSK. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced that Russian forces have captured the Luhansk Oblast on July 3rd after seizing LYSYCHANSK and settlements on the Luhansk Oblast administrative border. The Ukrainian General Staff also announced that Ukrainian forces withdrew from LYSYCHANSK to avoid personal losses. The Russian forces have not fully cleared LYSYCHANSK and the Luhansk Oblast as of July 3rd, despite Shoigu's announcement. The Russian Defense Ministry stated that Russian forces are still fighting within LYSYCHANSK to defeat remaining encircled Ukrainian forces, but the Ukrainian withdrawal means that Russian forces will almost certainly complete their clearing operations relatively quickly. Russian forces will likely next advance on Seversk, though they could launch more significant attacks on Bakhmut or Sloviansk instead or at the same time. Ukrainian forces will likely continue their fighting withdrawal toward the E40 highway that runs from Sloviansk through Bakhmut toward Debelstev. It is unclear whether they will choose to defend around Seversk this time. Two very senior Russian commanders are reportedly responsible for the tactical activities around LYSYCHANSK. Commander of the Central Military District Colonel General Alexander Lapin and Commander of the Russian Aerospace Forces Army General Sergei Suvorkin, who also commands Russia's southern group of troops in Ukraine, have been responsible for securing LYSYCHANSK and the areas to the west of it, respectively. The involvement of two such senior officers in the same undertaking in a small part of the front is remarkable and likely indicates that the significance of the Russian President Vladimir Putin has attributed to securing the LYSYCHANSK and the Luhansk border, as well as his lack of confidence in more junior officers to do the job. Ukrainian forces may use U.S.-provided HIMARS rocket artillery systems to strike a Russian ammunition depot at Melitopol airfield on July 3rd. Melitopol Mayor Ivan Fedorov reported that Ukrainian forces launched two strikes on one of the four Russian depots in Melitopol. Russian telegram channel Rebar released footage of a large cloud of smoke over the city, and Russian-appointed Melitopol Governor Yevhen Bostovsky falsely claimed that Ukrainian forces aimed to strike residential buildings, but instead hit areas around the airfield. The Kremlin likely seeks to expand state control over private companies that support elements of Russia's military-industrial base. The Ukrainian Military Directorate reported on July 3rd that Russia's government inability to pay Russian firms supporting Russia's war in Ukraine is degrading Russia's ability to repair damaged vehicles. The GUR reported that directors of the Russian military vehicle repair centers are not accepting new Russian equipment for repair because Russian military has not paid these centers for previous work. They're not getting paid for the work they're putting out. Recently proposed Russian legislation suggests that Kremlin leadership shares the GUR's assessment. Russian legislators in the Russia State Duma submitted a bill on June 30th that would empower the Kremlin to introduce, quote, special measures in the economic sphere, enabling the Russian government to force private Russian companies to provide supplies for Russian military operations. The bill prohibits Russian businesses from refusing to fulfill Russian government procurement orders connected to Russian military operations. Key takeaways from the day, before we get into the map specifically, before I start drawing on it and going into each individual front. Thank you so much, Christine Brantley, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Christine. So key takeaways on July 3rd. Russian forces seized the remaining territory between LYSYCHANSK and the Luhansk Oblast's administrative borders on July 3rd. Russian forces launched assaults northeast of Bakhmut and north of Sloviansk, but did not secure new territorial gains. Russian forces conducted extensive artillery attacks in the western part of the southern axis, likely to disrupt Ukrainian counteroffensives. The Kremlin continued to set conditions for potential Russian annexation of proxy republics. And the Ukrainian partisans reportedly derailed a Russian armored train carrying ammunition near Melitopol on July 2nd. Now let's get into each individual front. I'm going to highlight each individual one. So there's 3 areas that we're going to be talking about, and let's get into some of these map features here. So as we're looking at our map here, we got 3 different colors going on, 3 specific colors. We got red, blue, and we have yellow. The red on the map is the assessed Russian advance within Ukraine. So here you got the full country of Ukraine. You got let me draw. I use like light green to annotate things. So you got Russia. You got Russia here. This is all of Ukraine, right? Even though it's red, this is all Ukraine. So this is all area that is in the red that the Russians have advanced within their country. Okay, 2 regions in the country have been annexed. Well, one has been annexed, which is the Crimean Peninsula, but the other 2 have been controlled by separatist forces since 2014. So that would be Luhansk and Donetsk. Those are separatist controlled. Vladimir Putin gave them their independence before the invasion. And then you have the Crimean Peninsula here, which has been annexed since 2014. All right, so Donbass and then Crimea. Those are reflected in dark black on our map because, again, those have been since 2014. So everywhere else on the map where we have the red, or the solid red line, that is assessed Russian advanced after the 24th of February. So that's all here in the southern axes, in the east, and then in the northeast. The 3 areas we're going to be talking about on the map are going to be in this area, in the southern axis, so we're not going to be talking about Crimea. We're going to be talking about in here. And then we're talking about up here. Okay? You got the Kharkiv Oblast, you got the Donbass, and then you got the southern axes, the 3 main fronts here in Ukraine that we talk about, and I go into the details and territory gains and changes over the last 24 hours in these 3 regions. First, we're going to be starting with the east in the Donbass. And as you can see, before we even get into it, LYSYCHANSK is all the way in the red now. We've been tracking this specific region now more so for the last month. The last month highlighting areas in the Donbass. But here's LYSYCHANSK. It's engulfed in red now. Russians have completed their advance and completed the encirclement of the city and are now going to be working towards Seversk. So let's highlight some cities and some of the things that I know before I even read the report. And I read these reports live on air on our live streams. If you want to catch our live feeds, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And the live feeds are always at the evening hours, and the map breakdowns are always posted during the daytime. All right, they're always posted around noon during the day, and then the live streams where we go into the full map breakdown, and then we do videos and video clips and see you just kind of get a full picture of the war. We do that at nighttime. All right, so here we can see LYSYCHANSK is red. Okay, Severodonetsk is red. Those are now Russian-controlled Russian-held Ukrainian cities. Here's Popasna, Yersk. Okay, they're getting close to Seversk, Liman, Izium. I'm reflecting Russian-held Ukrainian cities in red circle. Okay, if this is one of your first streams, Russia. Am I blocking this? Let's do that here. Let's do this here. So add it onto our key here. So this is just Russia. Blue is Ukraine. Okay. Blue is Ukraine, red is Russia. Help you guys out with some of the keys. Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Drzivka, Komyastovivka, Bakhmut, Seversk. These are going to be key Ukrainian held cities now that Russia is getting closer and closer. Here's Advidka. It's just hard to see. All right, there's Advidka. Counteroffensives in Bereskov have been halted. I think that's all I need to mark for Ukrainian cities. Let's do the arrows, show their retreat. So Ukrainians are retreating this way, okay, into Seversk. Similar to that, the Russians are right behind them, following them. Trying to make this clean as I can. Okay, so you got the arrows are advance or counteroffensive, just movement where they're moving. Okay, Russians are moving. Okay, and this is in the Donbass. Show the retreat. I'm gonna put another one up here. Oops. Okay, and then let's do highways or major roadways that are referenced frequently are in purple. E40 highway. T1302 highway. Okay. E40. And then here's the T1302 highway. Those are the main two. I think that's all I need to annotate for now. Okay, and then is this here? There we go. Can you see that road? There we go. Purple line road. So purple line road, red circle, Russia city, Russia controlled city. Blue circle is Ukrainian-controlled city, still within, and this is all within Ukraine, by the way. It's not like this is Russia here. We will get up to that in Belgorod and talk about the latest happenings going on there, and that is in Russia. But this is in the Donbass within Ukraine. And again, the red are just Russian-controlled Ukrainian cities. Anything I'm going to be referencing or talking about, I will be using the green now. This is all the annotations. So whenever I'm specifically referring to a certain section on the map, I will circle it like this. Like here, I'm talking about this region, or I'm talking about this region. I'll try to be as specific as I can when I'm talking or giving the latest update. So the main effort is Eastern Ukraine. Subordinate main effort, Southern Kharkiv, Donetsk, Luhansk Oblasts. Russian objective, encircle Ukrainian forces in Eastern Ukraine and capture the entirety of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblasts, the claimed territory of Russia's proxies in Donbass. Russian forces captured the Luhansk Oblast's administrative borders on July 3rd, following the Ukrainian withdrawal from the LYSYCHANSK and settlements in its vicinity. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu claimed that Russian forces seized Lysychansk, Bilohorivka, Novodorozhsk, and Malyorodzinettiv on July 2nd, capturing the remaining salient around Lysychansk around the Luhansk Oblast boundary. The Russian Defense Ministry added that Russian forces are still fighting encircled Ukrainian forces within Lysychansk as of July 3rd. So that they're both saying they have the entire territory captured, but there's still Ukrainian forces in this region. This is where we're talking about here in Lysychansk. There's still Ukrainian forces here that, according to Russian sources, that they're fighting. But there's no contention that they have taken the city, like in general. Geolocated footage shows Russian forces casually walking around Bilohorivka on July 3rd. Which further suggests that Ukrainian forces withdrew from settlements on the Luhansk Oblast border just west of the Lysychansk. Ukrainian General Staff also confirmed that Russian forces captured Zolotarivka and are securing positions around Verkhonomankaya just south of Bilohorivka. Russian forces launched assaults northeast of Bakhmut, so now we're talking about here, right? Northeast of Bakhmut, that's in this region. Oops. Less confusion. Gonna be along this T1302 highway. Here's Bakhmut. Russian forces launched assaults northeast of Bakhmut in an effort to capture the remaining settlements along the Luhansk administrative borders. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces launched unsuccessful assaults from Nirkov and Berestov, indicating that Russian forces established control over Nirkov on the Luhansk Oblast border. Russian forces also reportedly conducted reconnaissance in-force operations in the Vaslivka-Berestov direction and attempted unsuccessful offensive operations west of Milokahaivka and Volodyrivka. Russian Telegram channel Rebar posted footage reportedly captured by Wagner Group units in Klinikov, approximately 12 kilometers southeast of Bakhmut. That'd be in here. It's not yellow or red, which I forgot to mention. Yellow on our map. Yellow on the map is claimed Russian control. So that'd be like right in here, right in here. There's some yellow here, some yellow here. There's yellow to the east of Advidka, yellow to the northwest of Izium. All the yellow on the map is claimed Russian control. So it's just Russian sources saying that they've taken control of said territory. It's not like official yet. When it becomes official in terms of Ukrainian sources, Russian sources, and Western sources are all saying the same thing, then it will become red, or if that's what happens. Or if it's Ukrainian counteroffensives, on the other hand, which we'll talk about in the southern axes, that'll be in blue. Right, but it's got to be coming from all sides to get that official all red, or if it goes back into just white space within Ukraine, and it's just Ukraine's again. So, yeah, fighting going on just southeast of, or excuse me, northeast and southeast of Bakhmut. Okay, 12 kilometers southeast, and then also fighting to the northeast. So the Russians are pinching Bakhmut here as well. Russians fighting here, and then we already have the arrows highlighted to the east along that T1302 right here. To the east of Bakhmut. So Bakhmut and Seversk are the next two cities. Here's Seversk. These two cities are the next two Ukrainian cities, major cities that are under threat of Russian control. The Russians are getting close. These are the next two. Seversk and Bakhmut. It was Severodonetsk and Lysyansk. You can see what's happening there now. The Russians have full control. There's still some ground fighting going on in Lysychansk with some Ukrainian fighters as they're leaving, but the Ukrainians are leaving. And now the Russians are getting on the borders of Seversk. I need to draw a couple more arrows. There. Oh, that's probably a little bit. There, that's probably easier to see. Okay, again, arrows are Russian advance. Blue arrows are Ukrainian, either advance or retreat. Same to Russia. If there's ever like a Russian retreat, or if the Russians leave an area, obviously the arrow will go the other way. The arrows are pointing where they're moving to. Russian forces attacked settlements north of Sloviansk, but did not secure new territorial gains on July 3rd. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian forces repelled Russian assaults near Mazanadivka on Dolnya from Pasivka, northeast of the E40. So we're talking about here. This is where we are specifically talking about now. Sloviansk, E40 highway. That's here. Just boxed it in green. The Ukrainian General Staff noted that Russian forces are using unspecified electronic warfare systems in the areas north of Sloviansk. Pro-Russian military expert Boris Rozhnin claimed that Russian forces are also engaged in positional battles in Velka, Komnashriivka, and Kurlka, southwest of Izium, which would suggest that Russian forces are attempting to repel Ukrainian counterattacks in the area. Sloviansk Mayor Vadim Laika and Russian sources reported that Russian forces are heavily shelling Sloviansk. Sloviansk here. This is the next pocket of Ukrainian cities that are going to be under threat of Russian capture. Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Druzhdivivka, Kostyamivka, Bakhmut, Seversk, and Advidka. Now that the Russians have captured Lysychansk, I wonder if they're going to separate their troops or bring them back around more and start to separate and even out their forces here. Because again, the Russians have moved all of their troops into this pocket here in Severodonetsk to capture it and capture Lysychansk, so they can make a power move like they're making right now. And I don't know if spreading out their forces would help them at all or not in their advance, because the Russians are struggling in any advance outside of this region. This is they are having success here, but this is the only region that the Russians are having continued success in this war. Everywhere else, the Russians are either stalled or are losing territory that they've gained. This is the only area that they're continually gaining territory, which is in the east. Ironically, that's where most of their propaganda hits hardest, and where those that are parroting Russian talking points or are parroting the Russian narrative or supportive of the war in terms of the Russian perspective, this is where the propaganda is hitting the hardest. So they're going to be parroting a narrative that Russia's winning this war, because that's where they're winning where their propaganda is at its highest. All right, they're not winning in any other area at all. They're not winning in any other front or region in Ukraine besides in the east. And to Ukraine, on any city lost is a loss. You know what I mean? Anytime you lose one of your own cities to another foreign power, that's a loss. It's not like the Ukrainians are like, oh well, they just got another one of our cities. You know, it's not a big deal. It is a huge deal to them. They're losing their people. They're losing their control of their cities. So it is a big loss to Ukraine in general, just losing cities. But in terms of war, in terms of the overall bigger picture, the overall big picture in Ukraine, the Russians are only winning in one specific area, and that is in the Far East in the Donbass. They're not winning, and even in this snapshot here, they're only winning here, and this is a close up of the East. They haven't done anything here, and they haven't done anything here. Russians on a consistent basis. Now that they've taken LYSYCHANSK, if they spread their forces out, if the Russians move their forces back, I'm wondering what that's going to do. I'm wondering if that's going to back to territory gains or not. We have to wait and see. That's Ukraine. Ukraine just needs more artillery, more heavy weapons to be able to repel these advances here in the east. But again, this is where their successes are in this green circle on your screen, right? This is where the Russians are having their successes. Russian forces are attempting to improve their tactical positions around Avdiivka and are continuing to shell and launch airstrikes on Ukrainian positions in the area. Rosian claimed that Russian forces are fighting near the N20 Avdiivka-Kotsianivka highway, and the Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces are trying to improve tactical positions around Spartak. So that little update was coming from down here. That's about it. No gains, no losses, just the fact that they're trying to improve tactical positions. And they're just continuing to shell Ukrainian positions with their artillery and multiple launch rocket system truck capabilities. And that's likely going to be the same update in the northeast as well. Just continued shelling of Ukrainian positions, keeping the Ukrainians at bay from their counteroffensives while the Russians advance in the east. In the Far East, I should say. This is the East in general, but the Far East is Severodonetsk, LYSYCHANSK. All right. That is the update in the Donbass, or in the Far East, I should say. We got to go to the Northeast next. So for the day, last 24 hours, keep it simple. If it was a win or a loss in these areas, because it's multiple fronts, multiple areas where there's fighting going on. It's really hard to just be like, yeah, Ukraine's winning, or yeah, Russia's winning, because there's certain areas where Ukraine's winning, there's certain areas where Russia's winning. That's just how war works, and especially in multiple fronts. So in the Far East, Severodonetsk and LYSYCHANSK, for 24 hours, Russia's winning in the east. They're not winning in the just to the west of that region, in Lyman and Izium. The Ukrainians are holding them off. They haven't gained any territory there. Similar to around Avdiivka, they're shelling Ukrainian positions, but have not gained any territory in the south. All right, we're in the southern region of Donbass, just north of Donetsk. It just zoomed in specifically on this region, and this specific portion of the map north of Donetsk. Loss for the day. So summary would be more Russian successes in the east. Russia takes LYSYCHANSK. All right, that'd be the way to summarize what happened today. Russia takes LYSYCHANSK, and that city, one final time before I delete all of this, is this city, LYSYCHANSK, right here, now in Russian control. July 3rd, 2022. All right. Now let's go up to the northeast in Kharkiv. Let's do this. Let's highlight some cities that are referenced frequently. Here's Belgorod. Here is Kharkiv, Chuhuiv, smaller city, Zolochiv, Karachi, Staroye Saltiv, Volochansk, as talked about once in a while. You know, that E40 highway that goes all the way down to Sloviansk, it goes all the way up to Kharkiv. Got a couple highways in this region. You got the E105 highway that both the Russians and Ukrainians are using as a ground line of communication / supply line. which makes sense. Which makes sense because it connects Russia and Ukraine. So this is the E105. E105 there with the arrow just pointing at the highway. And then here is E40 again. It goes all the way down into Ezium on our map. That is the main, that's about it. There's been shellings along this E105 highway over the last few days, but there hasn't been any advances or territory changes. All right, let's get the latest. Russian forces did not make any territory gains northwest of Kharkiv city on July 3rd. Ukrainian sources reported that Ukrainian forces repelled a Russian attack on Pruzhnyaka along the T2117 highway. The T2117 highway. Where is that one? Found it. All right. Now I got to highlight this one. So the T2117 goes right into the E105 highway. Goes right down into Dirachi. So and then it goes into Zoloshiv too. So that's going on in this region. Ukrainians repelled attacks here. Okay. And that in that green circle that I just put on the screen is the T2117 highway. In between the E40 and the E105. Russian forces continued shelling civilian and military infrastructure facilities in Kharkiv city and surrounding settlements, especially along the E105 and T2117 highways leading to Kharkiv city. So you had shellings along the E105 and the T2117. Oops. The T2117, which is here. Okay. Again, the purple is our highways. So shellings along E105 and T2117 from the Russian forces, which I'm sure we'll see an abundance of from our video clip section, which we do during our live streams. So tune in, do our live streams to catch video clips, and we see shellings of Russian and Ukrainian positions. All right, that is all that has happened in the last 24 hours in the Kharkiv Oblast. That is about it. Just shellings along T2117 and the E105 highways. No territory gains or changes. Now, let's go down to the southern axes. That's Mykolaiv, Kherson, Zaporizhia Oblast, Dnipro-Tversk Oblasts, Melitopol, Mariupol, Berdyansk. Let's start circling some cities. And again, I don't circle every single city. I just circle the ones that are frequently referenced in news updates so you can get some familiarity with these cities. Mykolaiv, Ukrainian control, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhia, Dnipro, Orkhiv, Mariupol. That's where counteroffensives are coming out of. Okachiv. That's about it for Ukrainian cities. Now, red for Russian cities. Kherson, Melitopol, Mariupol, Berdyansk, Ernodahar, Vaslivka. Okay, that's all the major cities within Ukraine that are mentioned. Let's do the main ground line of communication that Russia's using along the E58 highway. It goes through all these cities along the southern axes. Kherson, Melitopol, Berdyansk, Mariupol, right into Russia it goes. All right, it goes right into Russia. This is the E58 highway. Oops. E58 highway. Now let's draw some of the Ukrainian counteroffensives taking place. Okay, and then you got right along the E105. Okay, Ukrainian counteroffensives. Now let's get into it here. So that is all of the major cities and the major highway ground line of communication that Russia uses, that E58 highway, and then also Ukrainian and Russian, the main Ukrainian and Russian cities. Russian forces are continuing to take defensive measures along the southern axes, likely in an effort to repel Ukrainian counteroffensives. Ukraine's General Staff reported on July 3rd that Russia's forces conducted systematic tube and rocket artillery strikes to prevent Ukraine's units' advances. NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System firms remotely sensed data showed abnormally high numbers of fires in the Mykolaiv-Kherson Oblast front line on July 3rd. So that we're talking about over here. Mykolaiv-Kherson border. Heavy ground fighting and artillery going on in here. So that's, again, where I talk about with the report, highlight with the green. Mykolaiv-Kherson border. These locations are plausible bases for a possible Ukrainian counteroffensive. Ukraine's Operational Command South reported on July 2nd that Ukrainian forces repelled a Russian reconnaissance in force in the direction of Ivanivka in the northwestern Kherson Oblast. Odessa Oblast Military Administration spokesperson Sergei Brachuk also noted that Russian forces began accumulating military equipment in downtown Kherson City, getting ready to defend the city of Kherson against Ukrainian counteroffensives that are amassing. I believe that in the coming weeks, because I don't know how long it'll take them, but it sounds like they're gearing up, that Kherson, or the video title will be Ukraine takes back Kherson. I feel that. I don't know. I got like a gut feeling. This is about honestly, and I'm trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can. This seems like right now the only city that seems realistic for Ukraine to take back. That's what they're gearing up for. I'm not sure about these other cities. I don't know. But right now, that's the city of Kherson here. And they've been gearing up for, based upon reports in just the last few weeks, it appears that Ukraine is gearing up for a big counteroffensive to take back this city here, Kherson. The Russians have paused all Russification of the city, all their annexation policies going on, everything that they're doing in Melitopol and Berdyansk and Mariupol in terms of completely Russifying the city and paying their workers in rubles, changing everything going on within the city. They had to pause that in Kherson. They had to pause those efforts, like annexation policies, like getting these cities ready to be integrated into Russia, similar to Crimea. The city of Kherson is has been having to report that they've had to pause that, and they're getting defensive positions set up now, so they can't Russify it. They have to defend it. The Ukrainians are 10 to 15 kilometers outside of the city, so that right now to me in the southern axes seems like the only plausible city in the coming weeks that Ukraine has a high chance of taking back, and that'd be the city of Kherson. All of their supplies and all of their resources are set up to do so, and it's been report after report of this taking place, all right, nonstop. So I believe that right now that seems to be the only city in the southern axes, or just in general, that the Ukrainian military are gearing up to make a push into and take back. Ukrainian combat aviation is reportedly still active in the Kherson Oblast as of July 2nd. Ukraine's Operational Command South reported that Ukraine fixed a rotary wing aircraft, conducted 5 strikes against Russian ammunition depots, and forced concentrations, and claimed the destruction of 2 Russian ammunition depots in Chornoborivka and Sunarivka. Russian forces continued conducting missile strikes against Kherson and Mykolaiv Oblasts on July 2nd and 3rd. So their mobilization and force generation efforts, we'll talk about that, and then activity in occupied areas. That is your update from the southern axes in Ukraine. All right. That is the southern axes update. Mobilization and force generation efforts. Russian objective: expand power without conducting general mobilization. Nothing significant to report in that sense. Activity in Russian occupied areas. Russian objective: consolidate administrative control of occupied areas. Set conditions for potential annexation into Russian Federation or some other future political arrangement of Moscow's choosing. The Kremlin continued to set conditions for potential Russian annexation proxy republics on July 3rd. Donetsk People's Republic head Denis Pushilin announced that United Russia Party Secretary of the General Council Andrei Turchak and party representatives established a legal aid center in Donetsk City. Pushilin noted that the Legal Aid Center will provide DNR residents assistance with education, legal documents, and registration for social benefits. Pushilin and Turchak also handed out Russian passports to DNR residents. The Kremlin is likely attempting to integrate proxy legal and governmental structures into the Russian framework. Ukrainian partisans reportedly derailed a Russian armored train carrying ammunition near Melitopol on July 2nd. Kremlin-sponsored outlet RIA Novosti acknowledged that the train derailed around Yamivka, but claimed that the incident was an accident. Ukrainian partisans previously targeted Russian armored trains and locomotives in Melitopol in late April and mid-May. And we know this because we've seen the video of that armored train destroyed. So one final time, the key takeaways for the day in Ukraine before we get into the video clip section. Russian forces seized the remaining territory between the Lysychansk and Luhansk Oblast's administrative borders on July 3rd. Russian forces launched assaults northeast of Bakhmut and north of Sloviansk, but did not secure new territorial gains. Russian forces conducted extensive artillery attacks in the western part of the southern axis, likely to disrupt Ukrainian counteroffensives. The Kremlin continued to set conditions for potential Russian annexation of proxy republics. Ukrainian partisans reportedly derailed a Russian armored train carrying ammunition near Melitopol on July 2nd. And that is your map update. For more map updates and for more from Mercado Media, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching the map updates. And I do this every single live stream. Again, if you guys want to watch this live, tune into our live streams at 8 p.m. Central Time every single night during the weekdays. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. All right, y'all. that is it for the map. Now let's get into the video clip section. I know I'm kind of weird with that. We're trying to make videos out of the map section, so that's why I'm talking to you guys as if I haven't already said what's up. It's kind of weird, but we're trying to make. If you were wondering why there was like a random video posted on our YouTube channel, we're making videos specifically out of just that section of the live stream. All right, so don't just ignore me if I sound like I'm talking or introducing myself multiple times. It's because I am. It's because we're making videos. All right, so let's get into it now. The first video we have is Ukraine war. Russia says it controls LYSYCHANSK from Sky News. So this is video that is backing up the reporting we're getting from the capture of the city of LYSYCHANSK from the Russian forces.
The footage appears fairly conclusive. Posted on pro-Russian social media and overlaid with dramatic music, it shows a convoy of their troops snaking its way past the city's police station, weaving in and out of the debris and destruction caused by their attacks, as Russian soldiers punch the air in triumph. The soldiers filmed themselves waving red flags from key city buildings, while residents shower them with apparently grateful hugs. There are plenty of tears. It's relief, we're told. And with the English subtitles already laid on, we're shown delighted residents emerging from bunkers. This was a very clear message to the West and Ukraine's backers in the battle to win the propaganda war. Flowers are handed over to the jubilant troops. And according to this footage, the Russian troops entered on Saturday. We're in the center of LYSYCHANSK, he says. It's July 2nd and 3:30 p.m. We're near the sign "I love LYSYCHANSK," he goes on.
The whole, like the way that the Kdrivites, this is all, the Sky News has taken this from Kdriv 95. They got like, what, 5 people running outside, or like 10 people?
Flowers are handed over to the jubilant troops. And according to this footage, the Russian troops entered on Saturday.
Yeah, looks like the whole town of LYSYCHANSK, all right.
We're in the center of LYSYCHANSK, he says. It's July 2nd and 3:30 p.m. We're near the sign "I love LYSYCHANSK," he goes on. We took the city without any losses. That's not true. We were inside the city center a few days ago and saw the body of a Russian soldier laid out on the side of a road. The Ukrainian police spread out the piles of Russian army uniforms also found. And we filmed Ukrainian troops driving a captured Russian armored personnel carrier around the city's back streets. We were inside the city's oil refinery as the soldiers from the two armies slugged it out. We were alongside the Ukrainian soldiers from the 24th Brigade.
Hold on, what is going on in this chat right now? Listen, I've been covering this war since the beginning, since the invasion began. This isn't entertainment. This is news coverage. My YouTube channel is specifically a news channel. We cover current events and news. This isn't entertainment. If you want entertainment, come join us on Snack Squad TV later. That is the entertainment. There's no entertainment here. This is information gathering and information sourcing.
They were taking the strategic...
We got trolls in the chat tonight.
...decision to pull back from the oil plant. There are only a few thousand residents still inside LYSYCHANSK. The overwhelming bulk, about 90,000, who align themselves with the Ukrainian government, have already fled west. But of those we spoke to, there still seem just as many concerned at the Russian invasion as those who see them as liberators. And this after years of pro-Russian propaganda. But Moscow insists it's captured the city. 3/4 of the center is destroyed, and says it now has what it's calling full control over Luhansk, 1/2 of the Donbass. It is a significant strategic loss for the Ukrainians, with the Luhansk governor saying the Russians used inexplicably brutal tactics to exact their victory. There are already signs the Russian army is pushing hard further west and deeper into the Donbass industrial region, smashing the city of Sloviansk on Sunday with multiple rocket launchers and causing around 15 fires. It's the worst shelling to hit the city recently, but control over the entire Donbass is the primary goal of Russia's military operation now, after its failure to take the capital Kyiv early on. Since then,
then they bolster that too, as if that was their main objective the whole time. Because again, the East and the Donbass is where Russians have been. Their propaganda is at its highest. It's where it's the most effective. They've been propagandizing the East and the people of the Eastern Ukraine forever, or since 2014.
Steady gains in the East.
I'm sure even longer than that.
Officials and foot soldiers we spoke to insist they're being outgunned and running out of ammunition.
For example, we have 1 tank and they have 10 tanks, 15 tanks. Even experienced soldier can't keep the pressure in the battlefield using only 1 tank when the enemies have 15. It's impossible.
The other city now being badly targeted is Bakhmut. It's also lying in the path of Russian ambitions in Donetsk.
And that's not good. That's the city of Bakhmut that we're talking about. So again, that's going back to our map, and I reference the map frequently. It's very important to know your maps and to know where things are. That's a lot of propaganda is based upon that. Based upon you not knowing where shit is, essentially. So let's go even further zoomed in now. This isn't the map section, but I'll come back. So here's Bakhmut, again, Ukrainian city. We can add this maybe to the edit or whatever. But Bakhmut, here's the Russian advance, very close. Shellings. They're using the E40 highway here. Russians going right along the E40. We talk about it frequently. Goes out. The E40 goes into Russian territory. Svitodarsk, down into Donetsk. E40 goes up to Izium. Okay, and then it takes, and then there's this is the T1302 that I talk about in the large map. Okay, so oh, come on. Here's the T1302. So again, E40. And then the T1302 is here. Okay, and then this is the city of Bakhmut. And Bakhmut and Seversk are the next 2 cities that have to defend themselves, or they'll be under Russian control. There's the city of Bakhmut. You got the Russian advance here along the T0504 highway that leads into the E40 highway. Okay, that is what's going on here. And then that report was talking about shellings going on outside of Bakhmut. So that'd be like Russian rocket trucks back in here. This isn't like exact positions, but this just gives you an idea. The rocket truck positions, and then they're launching artillery barrages outside of Bakhmut. Okay, they're advancing on this city next. This is where the Russians are advancing to.
This airstrike in the middle of the day landed just 50 meters away from our accommodation in the middle of the city center. Somehow no one was killed. We know that this is a favored Russian tactic of pounding an area fiercely from afar before moving in closer and closer and claiming more territory. And this seems to be as clear an indication as you could get that they're not going to stop where they are. They intend to move forward and move into the second half of the Donbass. The Ukrainian forces insist they are inflicting significant losses on their Russian enemies, but they're also having to concede valuable territory too, and this town could be next. Alex Crawford, Sky News in Bakhmut.
And that's Bakhmut. All right, so Bakhmut and Seversk are the two cities that are now next. Not saying that it's going to happen or it's guaranteed that Russians are going to take the cities, but they're the next two cities that are preparing for Russian advance on them. So that was from Sky News. Here's a report from PBS NewsHour on the same thing. Russia claims control of LYSYCHANSK, a pivotal city in eastern Ukraine. Just reacting to this report.
Russians a high priority as Moscow claimed full control of the eastern Ukraine city of LYSYCHANSK.
As a result of successful offensive actions, we have closed the encirclement around LYSYCHANSK. The Ukrainian troops are completely blocked in another cauldron.
But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, meeting with the Australian Prime Minister in Kiev, insisted the fierce fight for LYSYCHANSK is not over yet. The city of about 100,000 people is the last major.
I mean, he's not wrong because there's ground fighting going on, but in terms of like Ukraine able to prevent Russia taking it over, Russia has it right now.
Ukrainian stronghold in the Luhansk province.
But again, the president isn't completely wrong because there's ground forces fighting there still. They're not going to be able to take the city back, but they are still fighting.
Its neighbor, Severodonetsk, another critical city, was taken by Russia a week ago. If LYSYCHANSK is seized, it will bring Moscow one large step closer to its goal of capturing all of Ukraine's Donbas region. More than 100 miles northwest, residents of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, are cleaning up after a 4 a.m. rocket barrage that damaged homes and a school. One family credited a pet with their safety.
There was just a cherry tree and a fence. Now the fence is destroyed and there is no cherry tree. My wife was lucky that she woke up early in the morning because the roof fell exactly where she had been sleeping.
The dog saved you?
Yes, it didn't let us sleep the whole night.
In some other parts of the country, Zelensky yesterday said that life was beginning to return to normal, but he urged his people not to forget that the battle for Ukraine still rages.
In many home front cities, there is now a feeling of relaxation, but the war is not over. The war continues. Unfortunately, war is only increasing in some places. Do not forget about it.
So, I mean, understand, I mean,
not over.
As you hear that, it's like, it's returning to normal in some areas, but the war is still ongoing. You got to try to keep your people from not, like, freaking out. Morale needs to get up in Ukraine. He's got to keep an eye out for the morale of his people, so they're not getting complacent, because if you're getting complacent in cities, then you're not reacting to the air raid alarms or taking cover. I mean, he's had to address that already, that please, if you hear the air raid alarms, take cover and get into a bunker, just because of how long this has gone and drawn out. And the Ukrainian people have shown so much resiliency to the point now where, like, air raid alarms just don't even affect them. They'll just continue on with their daily their daily work or whatever they need to get done. All right, so that was from Volodymyr Zelensky and the taking of the city of LYSYCHANSK in Ukraine today. So now let's get into some of the combat clips and footage from Rob Lee, and then we'll get to our Ukraine war video report on Reddit after. So here's a video of a large explosion in the city of Belgorod. So if we're going to go to Belgorod, let's pull it up on the map really quick so you know where this is at. Belgorod is in Russia. It's on the other side of the city of Kharkiv in the northeast axis. So Belgorod, real quick highlight. Oops. Belgorod, and then Kharkiv. All right, fighting going back and forth. This is in Russia. This is in Ukraine. What do you guys think? You think it's false flag attacks? In Belgorod, it could be Ukraine fighting back, honestly, because it's close enough. Do you think this is Ukraine attacks in Russia, or do you think it's false flags? Like, in terms of, or Belgrade, not Belgrade. In the city of Belgrade. In the city of Belgrade, that's where the Russian forces are staging their occupation troops. What you mean, stop attacking? A better habit of not answering questions that require more of a nuanced answer, or answering in a way to make them ask further questions like, oh wow, so they're only winning in the east? What do you mean? Yeah, they're only winning in the east. They're not winning in the south or the northeast. Video of the missile impact. That's in Belgrade. After this video posts, you'll be able to rewatch our map breakdown and territory gains and changes if you missed it. If not, we'll have a video posted at noon tomorrow, like an edited version of what I just did for the first hour of these streams. Video of Russian air defenses in action before the explosion. So this is all going on in Belgrade. City of Belgrade in Russia. Okay, and then now here's more video. So just a bunch of video angles from the strike in Belgrade from 14 hours ago. Hey, there's the building that was hit. At July 3rd at 3:06 a.m. You can see the date timestamp in the top left corner of the video. See, look here where my mouse is circling, if you missed. Yep, this is inside of Russia. Right on the other side of the border of Kharkiv. Photos from the point of impact, presumably from a Toka-U missile. From a Toka-U missile. Pictures from that. Here you got the booster section of a Russian Pantsir S-19M335 57E6 missile. Belgrade. Look at a dud. Thing's dangling right there. It's a missile dangling. A dud. Here's a Russian T-80 BV tank on fire, just in the east. No specific location. So this would be in LYSYCHANSK, Severodonetsk, in that region. It's not cope to say that Russia isn't winning. Like, that's ridiculous. The fact that they're supposedly the second largest superpower in the world and they're struggling with Ukraine. Russia's winning in the east, and that is it. That is about it. Photos of Russian BMP-3 captured by Ukraine's 128th Mountain Assault Brigade. They claim it is a 2017 build. What? 2017? I don't know, maybe it was teleported from the past times into 2017 through a time travel. Video from Ukraine's 28th Mechanized Brigade. They claim this shows a Russian Buk air defense system detonating. You can see it was in the tree line. Wow. So that was Ukraine's 28th Mechanized Brigade firing at targets in the tree line. Aerosvidka video reportedly showing an R-18 UAV dropping munitions on a Russian tank. Said it's hard to tell. Oh, that is okay. We're not gonna. It's pointless. There's not. You can't even see anything. It appears Ukraine also struck Russian facilities in Melitopol. What is the also part coming from? Okay, so they struck an airfield and they struck a facility. So Ukrainian airstrikes on Russian facilities and infrastructure in Melitopol. Because if you wanted to parrot only pro-Ukrainian news, if you were focused on just the South, like say I was just I didn't want you guys to know about any of the Russian successes at all, and I never reported on them, and I only reported on what is going on in the southern axes. Y'all would feel that Ukraine is winning this war, like in everything, because in the South, Ukraine's counteroffensives are highly successful, and they're likely to take back Kherson in the coming weeks. So, as much as you can't. There's multiple fronts to this war. There's multiple areas where fighting is going on. Ukraine is holding the Russians off in 2 of the 3 fronts that I call. There's the northeastern front, the southern axes, and then in the east. The Russians are winning in the east, and that is it. Ukrainian strikes reportedly on an airfield in Melitopol. Okay, that is way too loud. You can see the smoke plumes. You can see the explosions on the other side of the trees. It's not the best video to see, but you can see the strikes happening on the tops of the tree lines. Excuse me, on the tops of the tree line. All right, and here you got more. There were reportedly around 15 explosions in Melitopol around 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So these are Ukrainian attacks on Russian positions. Lots of Ukrainian artillery fire.
Сейчас громко будет. Отойди от окна, сам же мне.
Глянь, горит все.
Еще вон. Это по нам хуярят.
The Melitopol Kherson front is just as intense as in the east. Russians are trying to hold off the Ukrainian counterattacks. Ukraine has more. Ukraine has more in the south than Russia does. Russia has more in the east than Ukraine does. And I'm not saying to do this. I'm not saying to do this at all. This is what I do, just to give you an idea of how I help myself get some more further information. I actually do watch, and it's super cringe, but I do it. I watch the pro-Russian YouTube channels. I watch those. Not to be like, not to get informed in terms of get inspired from the information I'm getting, or to receive the information in terms of this is the truth. I receive the information to understand what that narrative is saying, right, and where it comes from, and understand and try to pinpoint it back to where it starts, and then try to break it down from the actual realities. Because once you see a narrative that isn't true, or narratives that are just literally narratives, they aren't facts at all, you can unravel those. But it takes, you got to actually tune into those and listen to them and see what they say. But I actually do listen to the pro-Russian channels to see what they got to say about this. And all of the Russia is winning narratives is all because of the successes of the Russian military in the East. But again, it makes sense for two reasons. They moved their shit there. They moved all their equipment there, and their propaganda is already like set in stone there. So if you're pro-Russian, and if you're towing that Russian line, and you're parroting that narrative of all of the Russian narrative, you're gonna be saying that the Russians are winning, because that's what I was talking about a little earlier. If I were to only report on the successes of the Ukrainian military in the south, you would think that Ukraine is like winning. That's why the people that are pro-Russian are just like, yeah, Russia's winning, they're destroying Ukraine. Like, yeah, because all of their information is only coming from the east in the Donbass. They're not even going and looking at this. I've been watching all the pro-Russian channels. They're not reporting on what's happening in the south and the Ukrainian counteroffensives. They're not reporting in the northeast what's going on in Kharkiv, and that the Russian military have just completely stopped and they haven't gained any territory, and the Ukrainians are bolstering their troops up there as well. They're only reporting specifically on the east because that's where you're going to get Russia is winning news. You're not going to get Russia is winning news in the south or in the northeast, because they're not. The Ukrainians are getting territory back. That's the information war. How much information you get and where your source is. It's not like it's not like as if the information isn't available. It's if it's your source that you're choosing to get the information from. If they're only giving you successes from the Russian military and only the successes of the Russian military, that's bias. If you're getting only successes from the Ukrainian military, you're not getting the full picture either. As much as I fall victim to hopium for things that I want to be successful, like I want the Ukrainian military to have successes, I want them to push the Russians back, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen every single day or every single report. And you got to be careful on those type of reports as well, in the mainstream news and independent news. Another video of the fire in Melitopol from this morning, possibly as a result of the HIMARS GMLRS strikes.
Вот так. Первая точка, вторая, третья, четвертая. Разъебашили.
This is in Melitopol.
Вот так. Первая точка, вторая.
Strikes in the city of Melitopol, between Melitopol and Kherson. Video that appears to show Russian Spetsnaz from the O grouping in Bilohorivka. What if he would have fell? The Russian Federation and Soviet Union flags go up. Okay. And that's in the Bilohorivka, or Luhansk Oblast. Video of the Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions in the Sloviansk area. Sloviansk. That is the next set of cities after Seversk and Bakhmut that is under threat of Russian advance. Sloviansk has been under threat of Russian advance for well over a month now from Lyman and Izium, but the Russians haven't had any successful advances and the Ukrainians have been able to hold them off. Now it's going to be a problem if the Russians branch off into Izium and Lyman and rejuvenate their forces and reallocate their troops from the east into that region, but they've had unsuccessful advances for well over a month. So that's Ukrainian positions in Sloviansk. More Russian artillery strikes in Sloviansk. Let's go to the map real quick so you know where that is. Let's go to the map real fast. I hope you guys do tune into the map breakdown section of the stream. Let's go here, full map. Where I break down the territory changes. That's usually in the first hour of the stream, and then we will be posting a video too. An edited version of just this portion of the stream that I do. So here is Sloviansk. Okay. Here's Lyman. Here's LYSYCHANSK, Sverdlovsk. Russian advance right outside of it. To the north, to the northeast. But Russians have been unsuccessful here. Unsuccessful for well over a month. Haven't had any territory gains here. But this is the second set of cities. If Russia were to capture Seversk and Bakhmut. Right, if they were able to capture Seversk and Bakhmut along this line of cities that we're going to be working on next, I mean, it'd be Kramatorsk, Dzerzhivka, Kostyanivka, these line of cities here after Seversk and Bakhmut, right? And then you got Izium further up the E40 highway to the to the northwest of the map. Excuse me. So Izium's up here. Oops. Izium's up here. So more Russian artillery strikes in Sloviansk. Right outside the city. Right outside the city of Sloviansk. You can see the shellings in the distance. You got video of excuse me. Video of 3 Stugna P ATGM strikes by Ukraine's 81st Air Mobile Brigade. They're also armed with an SPG-9.
Також був у мене розчет, який знищив 2 танки з Корсара.
Hey, thank you, Greg447, for subscribing to the YouTube channel.
От, і один розчет з Фагота не знищив, а підбив танка. І в подальшому вже піхота знищувала його з РПГ, до кінця спалили. Особисто я з розчотом в Рубіжному з будинка спалили танк, який виїжджав на нас. Протитанкісти стають фахівцями не зразу. Для цього треба дуже пройти великий шлях, щоб навчити військовослужбовця, оператора, старшого оператора, навідника, командира гранатометів навчити, щоб він працював з СПГ, з Корсара, з Фагота. Як то кажуть, тяжка праця, але наші хлопці дуже швидко це все опановують. От у нас молоде поповнення. За неділю ми опанували повністю СПГ. Хлопці вміють його вивіряти і стріляють чітко в ціль. Також з Фагота чи з Корсара там чуть-чуть довше проходить на протязі 2 неділь. Ми їх навчали. Також через 2 неділі хлопці можуть йти і виконувати своє бойове завдання.
So that's Stugna P strikes by Ukraine's 81st Air Mobile Brigade. Here you got footage reportedly showing Russian LNR forces crossing the Seversky Donetsk River. This separates Lysychansk and Severodonetsk.
Мужество и героизм военнослужащих народной милиции и спецназа Ахмат позволили провести совместно.
Is that river we were covering that the Russians were having a hell of a time trying to cross it. They've been able to cross it now. That just shows that Ukraine they were able to strike the bridges and to stop the Russians from crossing the bridge. We watched viral videos of their equipment getting destroyed attempting to cross this river, and it just goes to show that Ukraine is they ran out of heavy equipment and ammunition to keep them at bay here, because now they're just able to cross the river freely. Video of LNR forces crossing the Seversky Donetsk River, reportedly near Privilia, from over a week ago.
Одна улитка 14,5 килограмм, одна. 2 гири, короче, я ГС 18. Сзади.
Сколько всего?
Всего там много. Кил 50.
Выход.
Ну, сейчас через реку Северский Донец бойцы отправляются малыми группами, чтобы закрепиться на Привольнянском рубеже, удержать его. Противника как максимально далеко отбить, чтобы он ушел. Уже после этого, когда наши бойцы закрепятся, можно будет приступать к форсированию реки тяжелой техникой.
ПСУшники бегут, но они еще есть, там остаются, они не успевают.
So again, this is a Russian video showing Russians crossing that river.
Мы быстро наступаем, быстрыми темпами, со всех направлений, поэтому они не успевают даже сориентироваться, куда бежать и как бежать. Они обстреливают подходы к реке, подступы, отходы наши, все простреливают, но в этот момент мы пробираемся и вперед, и вперед.
Благодаря точечным переправам небольших групп, вот на таких вот небольших лодках, бойцы заняли поселок городского типа Приволье. До Лисичанска оттуда уже рукой подать, и это место было ключевое в стратегическом плане. Что, как обстановка там, мужики? Огрызаются?
Да какой огрызаться? Уже зубы поломаны у них, чтобы огрызаться.
So really quick from that video, show you guys where that river is. Really fast here. So that river would be, wow, that's so much territory the Russians have gained. Remember when it was just the Russians had just taken Severodonetsk. They're a little further inward. Let's go with pink. That'll draw us. Can you see that one? No. Let's just do green. It's easiest to see here. So here's the Seversky Donetsk River in the lime green. It separates Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. That's the river. And then the main two cities are now in Russian control. There's Severodonetsk. There's LYSYCHANSK, and then again that green is the river that was being referenced in the video. Okay, there's the river. Splits the cities in right down the middle. Okay. Here you got video of Ukrainian HIMARS firing on Russian targets at night. With GPS-guided munitions, HIMARS can accurately engage targets at night, when Russian UAVs will be less effective at locating them. Also, if you guys haven't hit that like button on the stream too, please. There's the HIMARS being used. Smash the like button. Engage in the stream. So Ukraine needs more of those. The Ukrainian HIMARS on Russian targets. Video of a Russian missile strike on a bridge in Cherkasy Oblast from June 26th. Oh wow. Russian strike on Ukrainian position there. Along the bridge. Right. Here you got photo of the aftermath of that strike. Train on the railhead. Video of Ukrainian artillery strike on a Russian truck with the Zu-23-2 cannon taken by Aerosvidka Carlson. Okay. So again, Ukrainian, this is a Russian truck here. This is going to be a Ukrainian airstrike on a Russian truck. Good night, Todd. Thank you so much for tuning in. Russian positions in a truck being hit. Russian positions and a truck hit by Ukrainian artillery. Here's Orlan 10 footage on positions in LYSYCHANSK. Potato quality video here. Here you got video of a Russian Mi-35M and Mi-8 helicopters near Makivka from last week. Makivka. So again, here we had Russian Mi-35 and Mi-8 helicopters. Here's a video of a Russian Su-25 attack aircraft in LYSYCHANSK area. Russian Su-25 fighter jet. Very hard to see. The craters in the earth. All these black spots on the terrain is craters. And some flares being used. There it is. More flares. More flares. Again, that's an Su-25 attack aircraft. Here was video from a large explosion in Russian-occupied Snizhny in the Donetsk Oblast. So, a large explosion in a Russian-occupied region of Ukraine in Donetsk. That's in Donetsk. Wow, major fire in Russian-occupied city in the Donetsk Oblast. I'm seeing some secondary explosions, looking like an ammunition dump. Lots of secondary explosions. Oh wow. Likely ammunition storage. Wow. Wow. No, I was just both at us. I'm gonna say that. So now let's go over to the Ukraine War Video Report on Reddit and get any of the video clips that we might have missed from Rob Lee. Russia conducted a smokescreen exercise over the Crimean Bridge. It doesn't end well for unaware drivers. Oh man, oh man. Oh. Oh. Oh shit. Again, the Crimean Peninsula is annexed into Russia. How is the Panzer Haubitze 2000? This is the German. This is a German piece of equipment. What the fuck? Loading munitions up into the auto loader. All right. Next, you got M142 HIMARS. This is the HIMARS strikes at Russians. Oh, we saw this video. It's a HIMARS video. Saw that from Rob Lee. Here's Ukrainian artillery in action.
Один залпом. 333.
Ukrainian artillery. Here you got what Severodonetsk looks like now. The city of Severodonetsk, so on our map real fast. That'd be here. Where we're looking at in this video. Severodonetsk. Now in full Russian control.
Військова служба за контрактом. Захисники є.
So just some visuals of what Severodonetsk is looking like.
Військова служба за контрактом. Захисники є.
A lot of dead trees. A poll is up in the chat. Vote in our poll. That's what the ruble will get you.
Українці.
Come back to Zelensky. Here's more video of the explosions in Belgrade on the night of July 3rd. Gotta realize it's July 3rd tonight for us here in the West, so this would have happened overnight in Russia, like last night. It's now the morning of July 4th in Russia. This happened overnight. Vote in our poll. That's going on in Belgrade. Seen that video is old. The naval forces of Ukraine have shown a successful demilitarization of Russian invaders. Oh, a compilation video. Nope. We've seen those. We've seen those. American, Polish, German support. Rescuers from 3 countries helped their Kharkiv colleagues fight the consequences of Russian aggression. When Russia's invasion began, I understood that Ukraine needed help.
Neil Stahl is a professional firefighter with 15 years of experience. He arrived in Ukraine from Germany. He approaches every firefighting after the city is shelled with German pedantry. For safety purposes, he puts on several bulletproof vests and heavy equipment, a total of 30 kilograms of weight.
I'm also a member of a couple of NGOs, and they work also worked in Syria. And they say like they usually wait an hour, and then they pump the same place again.
He was already putting out fires after missile attacks. One of the worst was in an industrial area of Kharkiv. People were killed there. Niels saw missiles flying at the city before the fires. He took photos and videos of it and sent it to family and friends in Germany.
We are in the beginning of a very stressful 3 months, probably, till enough weapons from the West are here. And they will push because they need Kharkiv. Yeah, when you're going out at nighttime and you just heard the rockets before, they are shooting usually from Belgorod, over the building.
Helping Ukraine in a difficult time is the main motivation of American Jeffrey Kenzie. He arrived in Kharkiv less than a week ago. During that time, air raid sirens have been sounded numerous times and he has heard explosions. He says he hasn't been able to sleep a single night.
I could sit in New York and do nothing, or I could come here and try to help.
Jeff.
Your analogy, Jay Rillo, is just as ridiculous as Russia's fake reasoning for their special military operation. They kind of go hand in hand.
Was an engineer but did a lot of
awful analogy.
Volunteer work. He put out fires, worked as a sheriff and saved people in the mountains. In Kharkiv, he's been working to dismantle the buildings that have collapsed.
When the invasion started, I think in the U.S. we all could see it coming in December. And when it actually started, it was just obvious that Ukraine is smaller than Russia and was obviously fighting very strongly. But it's just maybe not large enough to fight Russia. Ukraine should not have to fight alone. It's not the only country, it's just the first country. Yeah.
Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion, the work of Ukrainian rescuers has increased several times over. Sometimes there is no time to rest. Rescuers are on their feet around the clock. To make their work easier, their colleagues deliver new equipment to the fire and rescue units.
Here is such a small battery, but very powerful and works easily. The tool is very powerful. It can cut anything, stretch anything. It was brought to us by a pull.
On average, during one day, only rescuers of the Kharkiv garrison of the State Emergency Service come out 30 to 50 times to extinguish fires and the consequences of shelling. Reported by Marina Stepanenko, Nadia Sukharukova, UATV News.
Well, puppies. So that's what's going on in the Kharkiv update.
And on the war in Ukraine.
What is this? This is going to be a compilation video.
We
Ukraine
stuck rigidly to this narrow strip of...
Did we look at this report already? From Sky News? I don't think so. Alright. So Ukraine is now the most dangerous country in the world for civilians due to mines and unexploded ordnance in fields, towns, and cities, according to the charity of the Halo Trust, as it begins the process of trying to clear areas around the capital of Kyiv. So Sky News report. Come on, Reddit player.
We stuck rigidly to this narrow strip of safe ground. To the left and right, it's littered with mines. Vadim wanted to show us where he was hit, driving his truck on this road last month. This is what's left after 2 mines exploded underneath him. Without his truck, he can't work, but it served as a warning to civilians who are too scared to come here now.
Перший раз гупнулося, тут яма осталась. Я відкривати кабіну, вона не відкривається, заклинуло. Другий раз, це вже друга як зорвалася, мене лобове стекло вилетіло, мене викинуло наперед.
This area near Mercado, west of Kyiv, is the picture across swathes of Ukraine. Fields that should be planted with wheat are covered in munitions and mines. Landmine charity the Halo Trust has told Sky News Ukraine is now the most lethal environment anywhere in the world for civilians. Their deminers from the Donbass region on the front line are now clearing areas around the capital. It's painstaking work, picking through the grass for tripwires, mines and artillery. A large number of Russian shells don't detonate and get buried in the ground.
Я не вижу сейчас безопасного места на этом поле вообще. Безопасное, где мы прошли и сделали, все очистили, так сказать.
So it was locals that reported in April Russian vehicles were positioned here and Russian troops positioned over there. The threats left behind in the ground here now pose huge danger to civilians living just 100 meters away. Many still haunted from the arrival of Russian troops in March.
Вони їздили, прострелювали всі будинки. Всі ворота прострелювали, щоб ніхто не вийшов.
See the bullet holes? They said if anyone comes out, you'll die. They drove along here and shot at every house, every gate was shot at, so nobody would come out. They said if anyone comes out, you will die. These are the Russians, and they advanced into Ukraine.
Stuck rigidly to this narrow strip of safe ground. To the left and right, it's littered with mines. Vadim wanted to show us where he was hit. The family were given an hour driving his truck on this road last month.
What is that?
This is what's left after 2 mines exploded underneath.
What was that? Why was the video playing when I wasn't playing it? What the hell was that? So it's right here.
Безопасного места на этом поле вообще. Безопасное, где мы прошли и сделали все, очистили так.
Ви сказали, якщо хто вийде, все, вам не жить.
The family were given an hour to leave before Russian soldiers took over their house.
Страшно. Я зараз розмовляю з вами, і в мене просто вилітає серце від цього, як згадаю. Ви знаєте, в мене був глибокий стрес. Я скинула вагу десь 5-6 кілограмів. Не могла нормально
I had acute stress. I lost weight, approximately 5 to 6 kilograms. I couldn't sleep normally. I couldn't communicate normally.
спати, не могла нормально спілкуватися, просто не хотіла ні з ким спілкуватися.
I didn't want to talk to anyone. It was hard. I was stressed.
Тому що це дуже важко. Стрес.
Each time a mine is cleared, their house shakes. People's trauma here now compounded by the regular sound of controlled explosions nearby.
So the area of this field is 190,000 square meters, and each team on average can clear 120 square meters a day. So if we do the maths, it would take the 2 teams they have currently working on this field 2 years just to clear this area alone, and this is one of so many in Ukraine that's contaminated with mines.
These threats are stopping Ukrainians returning to the daily lives they had before this war, and clearing them could take decades. Sally Lockwood, Sky News, near Mercado.
At the minefields that the Russians left, and the mines in Ukraine. Just some of the more nuanced things that Ukraine's dealing with, preventing them from having more successful counterattacks. Just things that they have to continue worrying about. A local resident showing nursing hospital for mental patients shelled from Russian border in the Sumy region.
Це браття наші, йобані в рот. Ток, провода. Прильоти. Дідом весь розбитий. Нема ніхуя не осталося з його. Це був клуб.
So showing some of the destruction in the Sumy region in Ukraine. You've seen those 2 updates. Seen that. You've seen those.
Какие ощущения? Радость, конечно, наконец-то.
Locals in LYSYCHANSK talked to soldiers.
Мы уезжали в Россию, но решили все равно вернуться. 7 месяцев пробыли. Ждали.
Потерпите чуть-чуть. Ушли уже. Ушли. Господи, вы не уйдете, вы будете с нами.
So civilians talking to Russian soldiers in LYSYCHANSK as they have captured the city. That's the HIMARS video. A resident in Mariupol published terrible footage of her destroyed house. Footage from the city of Mariupol. You can find those destroyed apartment blocks all throughout the city of Mariupol. There's not much left of it.
And on the war in
Ukraine. Oops, sorry about that. Loud noise. I think that's about it, y'all, for all the latest videos for the day. I think that's going to be it for the video breakdown portion of the stream. Hey, join us after here. I'm going to take a short break, go outside, have a safety meeting, and then I will be back live on Snack Squad TV. All right, subscribe to Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. I'm going to be live streaming Jackbox games tonight. It's a game show style game, right? You guys can play along, and it's like trivia games, and it's just kind of like a fun community activity. Many people can join and play. It's free to do. You don't have to buy anything. You just play along. I give you a code and you play. That's it. There's 5 waiting. Head over to Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button over there. For the person earlier that said that this stream is entertaining, it's not. It's news gathering and information. The entertainment is on Snack Squad TV, if that's what you're looking for. An amazing community. All right, so head over to Snack Squad TV after this stream. I'm going to do one more full breakdown of the map, or excuse me, one more full breakdown of the key takeaways of the day within Ukraine before I let you guys go for the evening. So key takeaways for the day. Russian forces seized the remaining territory between the LYSYCHANSK and the Luhansk Oblast administrative borders on July 3rd. Russian forces launched assaults northeast of Bakhmut and north of Sloviansk, but did not secure new territorial gains. Russian forces conducted extensive artillery attacks in the western part of the southern axes, likely to disrupt Ukrainian counteroffensives. The Kremlin continued to set conditions for potential Russian annexation of proxy republics, and the Ukrainian partisans reportedly derailed a Russian armored train carrying ammunition near Melitopol on July 2nd. So thank you guys again so much for choosing Mercado Media as your source here for the war in Ukraine. Day 130. That's going to wrap it up. Hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. Thank you to everybody that sends super chats, super stickers. If you're posting super thanks after the video too, like if you're watching the stream after the fact and you weren't able to send super chats or super stickers supporting Mercado Media, you can send a highlighted chat, a super chat on the video after it posts. Look for map breakdown videos at noon every single day. So if you missed the first portion of this stream, or if you just want to watch just a video of my map breakdowns, we will have that posted for you guys the following day at noon or around noon. So the map breakdown from this stream will be posted tomorrow at noon, and then you'll get the new information during the live stream. Okay, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Have a good, safe 4th of July weekend. If you're off tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming on Snack Squad TV tomorrow during the daytime, streaming some video games. If you're going to be hanging out at home, or if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, I'm going to be live. We'll talk about any of the current events going on. I play Call of Duty or something, and we'll just have a discussion while I'm streaming some video games. All right, look for that tomorrow. Thank you guys again. Go subscribe to the Snack Squad TV YouTube channel. See you guys. Have a good one.